I am not a fan of cleansing at the sink. I think it's absolutely awful. The more I realize that even within the industry, there is so much, like so many dermatologists are like, I don't care. If it's not Retin-A, I don't care. If it's not sunscreen, I don't care. If it's not SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic specifically. So what am I doing? I am going to react to Hyram reacting to Leighton Meester's skincare routine. I think that's how you say her name. I'm actually not sure. Right before I started filming this, because I was thinking about how I've never really watched his videos. I think I've seen like maybe 2, and I genuinely think that the last time I watched one of his videos was like, it had to have been more than 2 years ago for sure. Honestly, even longer than that. I don't know that I've watched a single thing from him since living in Florida, and I think I've lived in Florida for like 4 years at this point, which is crazy to think about. But anyway, I was thinking about how like he's generally more popular with like a younger demographic. And I mean, like he's obviously very young, right? Like he looks very young. I think he feels very young, like when he speaks. That's what I've always thought. And I was like, well, surely he's younger than, no, he's older than me by 1 month. I did not know that. So that was interesting. So we're basically the exact same age. I was kind of under the impression that he was approaching skincare from like a different, I don't know, like a different starting point because of the age difference. Apparently that's not true. So I'm just going to kind of follow along. I've never seen the video with Leighton Meester. I've never seen this particular reaction video of Hyram's. So I thought it would be interesting, a little meta, a reaction to a reaction. I'll also, I guess, at the same time be reacting to her routine because, like I said, I haven't seen hers yet. So a reaction to a routine as well as a reaction to a reaction to a routine. So we'll see.
And then can you believe I have another serum that I put on? Moisture
Wow.
Boost Plumping Serum.
Okay, I don't know about that. Leighton, you had me about to start cheering,
Leighton.
but I'm scared for you, girl. I don't know if this is good. You guys know I rarely get super excited for a skincare reaction, but bruh, this reaction video calls home, pays homage to the severe Gossip Girl addiction I have had for the past 10 years. Because we're going to be reacting to Leighton Meester, who has a variety of different works, but is most popular for her appearance in the hit show XOXO Gossip Girl. I feel like my life can be divided up into 2 different sections: before I discovered Gossip Girl versus after I discovered Gossip Girl, because honey, life was awful before that. I kid you not, I am currently on my 7th time rewatching the show when all of a sudden, guess whose skincare routine popped up on Vogue other than Leighton Meester, who plays the iconic, legendary Blair Waldorf, my favorite character in that entire.
Okay, so it's a Vogue get ready with me thing. So I think that means that it's a morning skincare routine, unless Vogue has changed this. They also, I think they tend to do makeup in these as well, but obviously I won't be reacting to that. I'm certainly not qualified to talk about makeup.
Entire show. Anyway, this video is not going to be dedicated to my unhealthy obsession with Gossip Girl. We got some gorgeous skin to watch, and it is time to judge her skincare routine, because even though her physical appearance literally has not changed since Gossip Girl, we got to know the tea on the skincare. Is it actually any good? As I jump into this video, if you are interested in any of the products that she's using, I will have all the affiliate links in the description box down below, and make sure you subscribe for more reaction videos like this.
Hey Vogue, it's Leighton Meester.
She's so
and I'm
stunning.
here to walk you
I love
through
it.
my skincare routine and an easy little makeup look. My first step is I wash my face.
Oh, good.
I
She's
use
gonna show.
this, and
Oh.
I use it on this really cool.
Okay, so that's the Ursa Major Face Cleanser. That's a brand that I have not used, I think, in like 9 years. Wow. Blast from the past. I've not tested that skincare brand out in so long, but really good ingredient philosophy, very gentle ingredients that are not irritating to the skin. It's the fantastic face wash. And $28. We love an affordable cleanser. We love a celebrity using an affordable skincare routine. Ooh, and looking at the ingredient list, it has a.
Okay, so definitely not fragrance free, which is totally fine if you don't have sensitivity to fragrance. Looks like a totally fine ingredient list. I will always qualify my assessments of ingredient lists by saying I am not a cosmetic chemist. Looking at it now, it looks totally fine.
A bunch.
I've never used anything from Ursa Major, so I think I've heard about them like once, but I've never used any of their products. Generally speaking, too, I was about to say the cleansers are generally not the problem in some of these routines, but at the same time, the cleansing is a step that people, I think, get wrong a lot. And so sometimes it's like not even necessarily the product that's really the issue, it's really just how it's being used, but we'll see how she actually uses it.
Bunch of really good gentle surfactants, aka cleansing agents. There's also a bunch of really cool extracts like white tea extract, bilberry extract. Does have.
I don't particularly care about a lot of these extracts. I think that generally speaking, whenever you're talking about something like a cleanser, fruit extracts, all of these different things, like they might be sources of antioxidants. I think a lot of them are often included. Some of them have like a fragrant component to them, but a lot of people too, like I think depending upon the brand, and I can't really speak to this, I mean, they have an asterisk that denotes an organic ingredient, so it's probably a brand more directed at the clean consumer. It certainly looks like a clean product based on the ingredient list, which again, I don't particularly care for. In terms of like a marketing tactic, there are plenty of products that are considered clean that I actually really, really like. But yeah, I don't think that the fact that there are these random plant extracts in here is terribly important.
Have some essential oils, but not a huge deal because it's in a cleanser. I actually really want to use this one. This looks really, really cool. It's a pretty good price point, and I mean, the Leighton Meester endorses it. The songstress of Good Girls Go Bad. Then yeah, I gotta try it. So add to cart.
And I use it on this really cool, questionable device. I've been asked a lot of questions by anyone who notices this, and you can use it to wash your face. It's just
multi-purpose. We love.
Which is really fun.
I wonder if it actually is multi-purpose. I mean, as long as you're cleaning it, girl. But you know what? Self-care for your face and for down under.
I've been using it for quite some time. I find it to be really effective in cleaning my face, and it feels good. I usually use this OcuSoft lid scrub
interesting.
Because I have dry eyes. Yes, I do.
So generally speaking, I would never recommend a mechanized cleansing device. I don't know what that is, but it looked like, like the Foreo, it probably gently vibrates, that kind of thing. If it's going to provide some kind of like sensorial experience, right? Like if it's going to enhance your experience of the cleansing step, then absolutely. Like if that makes you do it and take your time with it, then for sure. But generally speaking, I think that it's money that you don't need to spend. I think that like she was like holding a towel under her face so that it would catch all the water. That's the other thing about these videos too, is that they're always doing the routine like at a sink. I am not a fan of cleansing at the sink. I think it's absolutely awful. People will probably come for me. I mean, people have come for me with the whole, like, you shouldn't be cleansing your face in the shower because the water temperature, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I really don't care. You can turn down the temperature in the shower. Also, you can get a more thorough cleanse. All other things being equal, like if you spend the same amount of time cleansing in the shower as you do at the sink, I would be willing to bet money that you're going to get a better cleanse in the shower, temperature notwithstanding, because you don't have to worry about making a mess. You can be very thorough. You can make sure you're getting into all the nooks and crannies. You're not sitting there like moving your arms in weird ways because you're trying to avoid water dripping in every which direction. So I would not recommend whatever device she's using simply because it is a device, and a device for cleansing is generally speaking not something that I would really ever pay much attention to. Also, it really didn't look like she did a very good job cleansing her skin, to be honest. And I wonder if he's going to say anything about that. They never show you the full thing, right? But like, you can just tell by the way that people either use the cleansing tool or use their hands that they're not really being very conscious about the particulars, right? Like when I'm cleansing, like I will take the time to cleanse the sides of my nose and like really work in the cheeks as well as the brows, and then like into the hairline. And like, cleansing, again, it's like, it's so personal, like it's so different for every single individual. You watch some people cleanse their face and it looks like this haphazard nonsense, and then other people it's like this elegant dance that they're doing on their face. But I like to think I'm somewhere in the middle, but I don't think that based on what we were able to see here, that was not a very effective cleanse.
I do. It really just, it seems counterintuitive.
Oh, whoa. Okay, I thought she said lip scrub. Did I hear that wrong?
OcuSoft lid scrub, because...
Lid scrub, I see. Okay, that sounds like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, it does.
In what world does that sound like a good idea? Lid scrub? God, I don't know. But at least from how she was using it, it basically looks like an alcohol wipe, which is not great either. I don't know what... Okay, Hyram, let her finish. See, even my stomach can't take this.
But I just clean my eyes, and I guess it helps me not to have dry eyes.
I'm Confucian. So it's a lid scrub, but it's a single-use wipe, which I'm guessing doesn't have like scrub agents in it. But does it help your eyelid not be dry or your eyes not be dry? I don't get it. This is some next level skincare innovation that I have not heard of. I'm guessing she has dry eyelids. Maybe it's kind of like a more like medicinal prescription type of treatment if she really struggles with, I don't know, like eczema on the, eyelid area. However, I just don't love any type of product that requires it to be single use every single time you use it. Whether it's a face mask.
This is something I do remember. I'm saying this like, I'm looking into a time capsule. I do recall him being very, at the time, he lived in Hawaii. I don't know if he still lives in Hawaii. I love Hawaii. Would love to go back. But he very much brought like a sustainability concern to the conversation whenever he was talking about the different product choices and stuff like that, which I appreciate. I think that it's useful to talk about the, impact of some of these products. Like for example, there was like this like coconut oil cleansing pads that I was like, that just sounds disgusting, but also how wasteful. I mean, I say all of this to say sustainability is important. It's also extremely complex. I would be asking questions like, what is the packaging, like the actual container for the individual wipe made out of? What kind of fiber is the wipe made out of? What is the wipe being soaked in? Like, how often are you actually supposed to use this product? Like, do they tell you to use it every single night? I don't know. Sustainability is something that I think that a lot of people talk about. Very few people understand, myself included. Every time I learn a single thing about sustainability, I'm like, well, that's just one more reason for me to feel like I should never say a single thing about sustainability because it is so complex. So complex. What is good in one context is bad in another, and it's just the list of complications, it is unending. But I do recall that he was always very interested in, discussing the environmental impact of the products that were being used. So, I mean, and I think that that's a valid point too. Like the thought of using like a disposable cloth every single time you wash your face. If this is like your routine, for example, right? Just seems shocking to me. Like in this day and age, I don't know. We'll see.
Makeup wipe, anything like that, it's just not great for the environment. And honestly, if she's struggling with a dry eyelid, I would think that like a moisturizer would be better for the eyelid area rather than a cleansing wipe. I don't know. I'm really confused by this product. I've never seen anything like it. I don't even think I've seen something like this in the store, which is why I'm like, maybe a doctor gave it to her. I got nothing.
The next
Editing Connor here. So I looked into this a little bit further because I was a little bit like he was. I was confused about this whole like lid scrub thing. I looked into it and basically it is a cleansing wipe. The ingredients, I mean, it's interesting that I made the comment about the coconut oil cleansing wipes because a coconut oil derived ingredient is actually used in these cleansing wipes. But the theoretical purpose of the OcuSoft lid scrub is basically it's a cleansing wipe. The idea is that you are using this dedicated product to remove excess dirt, debris, sebum, potentially makeup, products, so on and so forth from the eye area. Why would this exist? This would exist because if you have excess product, excess dirt, oil, sebum, etc., bacteria, also ambient pollutants that can adhere to the skin. So like pollen, dander, other allergens, lots of different things over the course of a given day might adhere to your skin or stick to your skin. And removing those is helpful for a number of reasons. One, it reduces any free radical damage that might be caused by the basically the skin's response to these inflammatory pollutants basically sitting on the skin. So that's part of the reason why cleansing is so important. It's not just so that you can make sure that your products are penetrating effectively. It's also so that you're removing potentially harmful things from your skin that have accumulated throughout the day. So particularly if you're somebody that has very sensitive eyes, or if you're somebody like myself that has issues with, seasonal allergies, that kind of thing, any kind of excessive exposure to these allergens can be very detrimental, both to your respiratory system as well as your skin, your eyes, etc. The eyes in particular, because you can get like some people's symptoms of seasonal allergies manifest as really itchy eyes, like dry feeling eyes, like those kinds of things. When I first moved to Florida, actually, I went through a period where I experienced such severe seasonal allergies that I was losing sleep. Like I would wake up, just my sinuses were so full of just snot, and my nose was running all the time. It was so bad. And I was at a loss. I was so desperate for some kind of relief. I was like, I am like, I need to do something about this. I was already using an allergy medication, taking that daily, but like, what else could I be doing, right? Like, are there immunotherapies, like allergy shots, for example? Like, there's like sublingual therapy that you can use to minimize your immune system's response to certain allergens. I was looking at all of these things, but in so doing, you learn about all these other things like avoiding getting into your bed, for example, or sitting on your couch when you get back home following exposure to all these various allergens and pollutants that are in the environment, right? So you could improve potentially your symptoms by avoiding getting in your bed, by avoiding sitting on your couch after you've come home. Like, for example, like maybe you've been out like at a park, or you went for a run where there's like a lot of very direct exposure to ambient allergens or pollutants, and then being very conscious when you get home to remove the clothes that you've been wearing and, you know, places in the laundry or somehow like in a separate place, whether that's like in the laundry directly or like in a hamper, you know, whatever the case. And then, you know, taking a shower, or at the very least like wiping off your face like with a washcloth, for example. You know, all of these all of these different ways that you can kind of help to minimize how much of the outside world you're bringing into your home. These all have a very, very direct impact on your experience of seasonal allergies. And so what I think is happening here with this particular product is using like a washcloth or a wipe of some sort, like that, the physical action of that particular material is going to help potentially lift more dirt, debris, pollutants, etc., from the skin than just, you know, the application and rinsing of a given, you know, cleansing product. So I think that the reason why a product like this might be recommended by like an ophthalmologist, for example, or an allergist even potentially, you know, like if somebody is experiencing really severe seasonal allergies, they might pursue the counsel of an allergist, and the allergist might say, okay, well, like a lot of your symptoms are very focused on the eyes. You could try this product. That is so interesting to me because I feel like it's a recognition of the importance of cleansing, basically, because you're saying, hey, use this product that isn't medicated. That's the thing. It's not like it's a drug product. It literally is a cleansing wipe. And so they're not saying like use this drug to help, you know, address your symptoms. They're saying use this cleansing device, basically, to remove the various pollutants, various allergens, so on and so forth, that might be contributing to some of your symptoms. They're basically reiterating the significance and the impact of cleansing. That's what they're talking about. But if you don't have a really thorough understanding of how best to cleanse the skin, whether we're talking about the eyes or not, you're going to default to something like this, which is a very, in my mind, a very hyper-specific solution to a very hyper-specific problem. The problem is the eye area, and so the solution is a product designed to cleanse the eye area specifically. I don't believe that you need a dedicated eye product. I think that if you use an effective first cleanse, for example, combine that with an effective second cleanse, you're probably going to be able to remove the vast majority of debris. The other thing too, and this is something that I think, you know, enters into the conversation when we're talking about things like micellar waters, for example, these products might be designed to be rinse free, or to like whatever ingredients are included in the solution that the wipe is soaked in, for example, they might be designed to be, you know, sensitive skin friendly, or to sit on the skin without causing undue irritation. But at the end of the day, leaving any kind of surfactant on the skin ultimately does carry some risk of irritation, because the longer a surfactant formula sits on the skin, the more it is going to work, potentially begin to break down or compromise the barrier. So it's interesting because this product is designed to help alleviate eye symptoms. He was asking, like, is the issue like your eyelids or is it your eyes? I'm assuming it's the eyes. And she, in her case at least, because when people say like I have dry eyes, they don't really mean like the skin around their eyes. Generally speaking, I would assume that what she means by that is that she has dry eyes, like actual eyes. And what is interesting is that she is potentially addressing the issue of the dry eye while causing or potentially increasing her risk of dry eyelids because of the friction associated with the use of a wipe. Particularly if this is like a daily thing she's doing, I would not do that. That's a lot of friction on an area that has extremely sensitive and very thin skin. So I don't think that that's ideal, but I also think that you again would probably get an even better result if you just have like a really good like first cleanse, like a balm cleanser, like an oil cleanser, a cream cleanser even, that could potentially do the same job but minimize the irritation risk, both because you're reducing the friction. The other piece too is that you are removing the potential irritants, but you're doing it without leaving a potentially irritating formula on the skin. You're essentially leaving a cleansing formula on the skin when you use a wipe like this, but don't follow it up with a cleanse. I actually would have rather her used the lid scrub and then gone in with her cleansing step, and then with her hands, which goes into rinse the cleanser away, bring that over the eyelids so that she can rinse away whatever bit of the formula is left over. I think that that would have been a much more effective order for this particular routine, but I also think that, again, you could probably get a better result with less potential skin irritation if you were to just use a really effective double cleanse. I would venture to say that she probably wouldn't need this if she had a really thorough double cleansing process in the evening, because this is a morning routine, right? So what she could do is really dial in the first and second cleanse in the evening, and then she probably wouldn't need 2 steps to cleanse the eye area in the morning. She could just use one cleanser, but then bring that over the eye area and then rinse it away. She probably wouldn't need to do 2 steps to further assist in the removal of, these various things that could be causing this eye irritation. I just think it's very interesting. At the end of the day, I really do think that what it is reflective of a lack of understanding around effective skin cleansing on the part of whatever provider, prescribed this product for her. So I would, and I mean, I'm not an ophthalmologist, I'm not a dermatologist or any kind of doctor. I'm not an eye specialist either, but based on what this formula contains and the proposed use case, it really does just seem like it's a cleansing wipe. And I understand why that could be beneficial. I really do. I actually think that this particular product would be really, really useful, like for like a midday kind of thing. Like sometimes when you apply sunscreen in the beginning of the day, like you're fine. But then like as the day wears on, you find that like a little bit of that product is like getting into your eyes and causing some eye irritation. Using something like this, that is basically a makeup wipe, but that is specifically designed to be suitable for the eye area, that could actually be very helpful. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I don't think that would be ideal, because I would recommend that you just find a product that you're comfortable using that doesn't cause the eye irritation on a routine basis. Like if you're like traveling and have like reduced access to like a standard cleansing opportunity, then that, again, it makes sense. Yeah, I would not recommend this product for the average person on a daily basis. I would want to understand more about their routine and more about like, how they interact with their living space too. Like what I was talking about before, like being conscious of what you're bringing into your home, because you're potentially increasing your exposure to irritating pollutants, allergens, etc. But there are ways to mitigate that without adding another product to your routine, particularly without adding a product that, of course, as he was saying, was not terribly environmentally sustainable, but also isn't necessarily the best answer for the broader picture, because you might, this product might very effectively address the issue of eye irritation, but if it causes a new issue where your eyelids are irritated, or you're causing like redness, irritation, further collagen breakdown of the area around the eye because of the friction and the inflammation that you're causing, I mean, you're substituting one problem for another. I mean, realistically, most people probably aren't experiencing like super significant problems with this particular product. But then again, I mean, like, we have tons of products that cause a lot of irritation for a lot of people that are still very much on the market.
Thing that I use is Real Ferment Micro
Yes,
Essence.
Korean skincare.
Neogen.
I just feel like it kind of like re-wets my skin.
Okay, love that she uses Korean skincare, and specifically that one. I am very biased when it comes to like toners, essences. I feel like a lot of them don't have a bunch of ingredients that I think are needed in in an extra product. However, that one has probiotics to really nourish the skin. It's one of like the best selling Korean skincare products of all time. Definitely like a really good formula, primarily for anyone who struggles with a damaged moisture barrier or dry skin. I've used that one many times, and I think it was one of like the very first Korean skincare products I ever used. Yeah, love it. I mean, is it a necessary step in your skincare routine? No, but I think it is a very nice and easy way of getting prebiotics, probiotics into the skin. You know, it's a very innovative formula.
I think I would agree with everything that he just said. I think that toners and essences I like because they are a very simple, straightforward way to add a little bit of additional moisture to the skin, you know, without changing your moisturizer, without, I don't know, getting a whole other serum. Because the other thing too with toners and essences, depending upon the weight, the texture, like part of what is useful about them is that they can do whatever they're doing without disrupting the other steps in your routine, right? Like if I have to like figure out a new way to layer my products because of whatever I'm about to introduce, that is difficult and frustrating. But if the only thing that I'm using in my routine is a serum or multiple serums, but they're all standard weight serums, right? Like they have a little bit of a like gloopy consistency to them, like they're a little bit thicker, whether they're water-based or not. And then I want to add one thing in, but I don't want it to be super complicated, and I don't want it to completely upend the structure that I've set out with my routine. Then, you know, a toner or essence that is sufficiently lightweight is a really great way to add in something. Like what he was saying, I mean, like these prebiotics, probiotics, generally speaking, I'm still of the belief that we are not really at a point where we can reliably identify what is and is not like a useful pre or probiotic skincare product. We don't really understand enough about the microbiome to be able to, you know, definitively state what is and is not, I guess, a useful addition. But I also think that good prebiotic or probiotic skincare is just good skincare, right? Because taking care of the skin, ensuring that it's moisturized, that it's not irritated, that it's not cracked or vulnerable, compromised, that's going to support a healthy barrier, right? Because if the skin can function the way it's supposed to function, then you're basically cultivating healthy soil within which this microbiome can come forth or develop. So I think that if you're keeping your skin hydrated using something like a toner or essence like this, I'm sure it has a variety of plant extracts. It's probably got some mild antioxidant potential. I'm sure that it's hydrating, like she was saying. So totally fine. One of the things I really just don't like about the Vogue videos is I feel like the skincare piece is like not even secondary. It's just that like the skincare and the makeup, like I feel like they're just so much, they're so condensed. Although also I don't know how much of this video I'm missing. I guess I should point that out because I not watched the actual video from her. I'm only seeing whatever I'm seeing within this one. So I suppose there could be more, but I don't know. I guess it's difficult to, you know, do your skincare routine when you're talking to a camera, particularly if it's, you know, a camera for Vogue.
Something that my sister-in-law told me about. I saw this like in her van. We were on like a surf trip and I was like,
she surfs? That just makes her so much cooler. Leighton, girly pop, let's go surfing together. I can only longboard and can only do a maximum of like 3-foot waves, but you know, we can paddle out together or something.
We were on like a surf trip and I was like, what the hell is that? It's snail mucin.
Oh, this is making me so happy seeing a celebrity talking about snail mucin.
Does he have a YouTube cat? Oh my god, it's literally
seeing a celebrity talking about snail mucin.
I think that's what it is.
Adam gets into the mucin. We share. We're like a mucin family. I feel very moisturized right now.
So this routine is making me so freaking happy right now. Snail mucin in the routine. If you guys don't know, snail mucin is one of like the best ingredients for helping to repair the skin's moisture barrier. It gives your skin an unbelievable glow. It can help with breakouts, acne. If you've never tried snail mucin before, I highly recommend that you go and pick up a bottle. This is a really unique product that I don't think I've seen before. Let's see. It's the Clog Snail Mucin Energy Essence. So it's 90% snail mucin, which is a really high concentration. So it's definitely going to have that kind of like sticky, tacky sensation that is going to be ideal for anyone who has really dry or dehydrated skin, even people with eczema. Wow, wow, wow. This ingredient list is so freaking impressive. And it claims to be like a gel to liquid essence, which really intrigues me because one of my biggest complaints when it comes to a lot of snail mucin products is that they're just really heavy. Don't get me wrong, I love using them overnight, but they do leave your skin very greasy and shiny, which is one of the reasons why I've always preferred more lightweight snail mucin serums, like the Beauty of Joseon snail mucin serum, or even the iUnique serum. Those are like my go-to ones for getting snail mucin into my skin. But this one claims to go from gel to liquid, which is really cool. So very rarely am I inspired by a skincare routine to actually like purchase the products that they're using, but so far she's highlighted 2 different products that I'm adding to my cart. Ugh, I love to see it. I knew Leighton Meester would do her research when it comes to skincare.
I think that Snail Mucin is incredibly like trendy. I don't particularly care to incorporate it in my routine. There's nothing that Snail Mucin does that I really care about. I think like it hydrates, it has like wound healing properties, you know, it like, so does glycerin, so does, you know, a ton of other things. I don't know, and like he's saying, I mean, some of these products are just like weird, like in terms of the texture. Like just give me like something like a rich hyaluronic serum, like a thick hyaluronic serum. That is what I would prefer. It's just, I don't know. I've literally never been intrigued. I really have not. I mean, I think that once you have been in and around the skincare space long enough, you begin to realize that like when things like Snail Mucin come out, or like we're talking about PDRN, like the salmon sperm stuff, it's like, it just sounds like, okay, like I would like to, you know, learn more about it. I mean, maybe there's something interesting there, but like, I really don't care. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to just be sitting there with my vitamin C and my vitamin A, you know, and just like leave it at that. Maybe that makes me boring, or maybe it makes me very practical. I don't know. I feel like sometimes like I take a bit more of like a dermatologist approach to some of this stuff, because like so many dermatologists are like, I don't care. If it's not Retin-A, I don't care. If it's not sunscreen, I don't care. If it's not SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic specifically, I don't care about vitamin C. You know, like they're just very like cutthroat with this stuff. And I feel like I'm in my, you know, in my older years, although apparently he's a month older than me, I'm just, again, caring less and less. So I don't care about Snail Mucin. I'm not going to be buying it. I would never recommend that somebody buy it. If you have it and you love it, great. I would just as happily use a glycerin serum. I would more happily use a glycerin serum because 1, it would probably be cheaper, and 2, I wouldn't be thinking about snails because I don't really want to be thinking about snails.
And then can you believe I have another serum that I put on? Moisture
Wow.
Boost Plumping Serum.
Ooh, okay. This is very much giving Blair Waldorf %. She just went in with a moisturizing serum from Shani Darden. Okay, Blair, that's very bougie, but honestly, Shani Darden serums are like freaking incredible. I love the retinol serum from their line. Oh, okay, it's actually not that bad. It's $78, so it's not the most expensive product from Shani Darden, but it's definitely like not a cheap serum whatsoever. Like their retinol serum is definitely one of the most expensive serums that I've ever felt comfortable like recommending on my channel, but really good formulas, really good ingredient philosophy. I will say, however, based off of the products that Leighton has used so far, it really does seem like she struggles with severely dry, dehydrated skin, because that is a wipe to prevent dryness, an essence to prevent dryness, and 2 different serums to prevent dryness. Homegirl's dry.
I did get on the SPF train.
I do also think that there's something to note about, like, I think for a long time after hyaluronic acid, like, entered the scene, so to speak, I'll never forget when Neutrogena launched their, like, Hydra Boost or whatever, and they were like, 1,000 times its weight in water, and like, everybody was like, oh my god. Like, and now, like, L'Oreal has, like, their derm intensives, like, hyaluronic, like, once you learn what hyaluronic acid is, and then you think about like the mechanics of applying it to the skin, right? Like it binds water, and so your skin like gets plumped out a little bit. I've just never really understood why like it has this chokehold on people. And I think that more broadly, not even really just hyaluronic acid, but like the concept of like moisturizing your skin. I mean, obviously we all want moisturized skin, but at the same time, it's like, it's giving La Mer mythology, right? Like you think if you just have this like moisturizer, like if you just moisturize the skin well enough, then like it won't age, or like it'll always look amazing, you know? And like that's just not really the case. I've just never really understood it. And like whenever people have like multiple hydrating products, like one after the next, step to the next, step to the next, and it's like, what was the point? Because there's only so much water that your skin can handle anyway. And the thing is too, is that depending upon what moisturizer you like lock all of that in with, you might be losing much of the value of some of these products, because, you know, if you're not using something occlusive on top of this, you know, multi-layered hydration thing, then much of it's going to be lost to the air anyway. So I'll be interested to see how she continues this. I would like to see something that's actually active, right? Like a meaningful concentration of vitamin C, for example. I think that this routine could have been so much. So this is a morning routine. I would have loved to have her just ditch this cleansing device, go in and take her time getting in like around the eyes and the brows into the hairline, And again, we always have to also keep in mind the fact that these people are on camera. They know that they're on camera. Nobody wants to look a hot mess when they're on camera. And doing a skincare routine on camera, generally speaking, if you're doing it well and very thoroughly, means you might look like a little bit of a hot mess. So maybe she does a better job when she's not on camera. I mean, I feel like most people probably would, but I would have preferred to have her ditch the whatever that cleansing device was, take her time with this product, this Ursa Major product, going in on slightly damp skin because it's probably a morning routine, no need to double cleanse provided you sufficiently cleanse the night before. And then take your time with that, rinse it away, immediately go in with that Neogen essence, that's totally fine. Just frankly, I would have skipped the Snail Mucin, I would have skipped the Shiny Darden, and I would have just gone straight in with something like the Naturium Vitamin C Complex Serum or Super Serum Plus, moisturizer, sunscreen, and called it a day. I mean, for me, actually, I would have used an azelaic acid somewhere in there because I think that it's just so beneficial. I don't know, be interested to see the rest of the routine. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
Train pretty early.
So we can tell.
I use these two things usually together.
Two?
One
Wow,
is
okay.
tinted and one isn't. I mix it together and it's kind of lighter.
Okay, I don't know about that. Leighton, you had me about to start cheering, but I'm scared for you, girl. I don't know if this is good. She's going in with a very good sunscreen, right? Elta MD, kind of considered like the best sunscreens, at least American sunscreens. However, when it comes to sunscreens, you gotta be really, really careful about mixing anything into them. I used to make a mistake where I would mix my moisturizer with my sunscreen to reduce the white cast, not realizing if you mix any other skincare product with your sunscreen, it can render your sunscreen useless, which means you're not getting the sun protection that you think you're getting, and it can actually lead to skin damage and irritation. Now, where I feel conflicted about
So I wouldn't say that it makes your sunscreen useless depending upon how you're doing this mixing. It is definitely, that is a YouTube logo on that man's wrist. That's interesting. It's not the kind of thing that I would say you're going to just completely negate any and all benefit, right? Like if you're mixing like a couple drops of foundation in with your sunscreen and applying it, you're probably still getting, some sun protection. But he is right in saying that you shouldn't be doing that. Not because it makes the sunscreen completely useless, but because it means that you are completely unable to accurately estimate the amount of protection that you're actually getting. So if I use, whatever amount I want of a given sunscreen, probably less because most people use less than they should be, and then I mix X, Y, and Z into it, I mean, depending upon what it is and depending upon the sunscreen formula, you could potentially be destabilizing some of the filters. You should let your moisturizer dry down fully before going in with sunscreen, and you should let your sunscreen dry down fully before going in with makeup for a different reason. But nevertheless, I think it's a little bit dramatic to say that like your sunscreen is completely useless. In particular, I think with this situation, I mean, I don't know exactly which two products she used, but it looked like they were both the same formula. One was just tinted and one was untinted. There were two completely separate formulas. If they were like, oh, Elta MD has this random untinted sunscreen and Elta MD has this random tinted sunscreen, and combining those, that I would not do because they're completely distinct formulas. But when people have like an untinted and tinted version of the same formula using the same UV filters and the ingredient list is otherwise the same, the only difference being that there's an addition of, some kind of pigment, then generally speaking, I would feel more comfortable using that. I'm sure that there's probably a reason why it's still not ideal, and you would probably just be better off finding a sunscreen that like actually matches your skin tone. But I do think it's a different conversation. Like for example, the Neutrogena tinted mineral UV fluid, the new ones that came out that has like 4 different shades to it. That one was actually, the dark was a little too dark and the light was too light. And so I did actually mix those. And I do think that that's fine because, again, it's the same formula, the same base formula. It's just, some mild differences in the tone, which is probably just correlated with a higher or lower concentration of whatever the pigment is, whether it's like iron oxides or something else. But I think it's a bit extreme to say that like the sunscreen is completely useless, particularly if they are like sister formulas, so to speak. Like it's probably not that big of a deal. But I do think it's interesting that he was like, you can cause like irritation and like skin damage. I mean, you could, because you might be getting significantly less sun protection than you thought you were. And so then you go out and maybe you are spending more time in the sun than you otherwise would because you think you have this protection that you don't. And you might get uneven sun protection too. And so like hot spots, right? Like it's one of the reasons why like a lot of dermatologists would say not to mix your tretinoin with a moisturizer, just apply them in layers. Because again, you don't know how it's mixing. You don't know how compatible the formulas are. You might be getting this weird gloopy mix that means that after you apply it to the skin, you have like, 50% more tretinoin here than you do here. And like, you just run into a lot of potential problems when you're talking about mixing products. I think a lot of those are generally overblown. I think a lot of the time, practically speaking, you're not really going to run into a lot of these issues. But I do think that there's something to be said about, particularly when it comes to sunscreen, being very respectful of formula integrity and, doing whatever you can to minimize the customizations, so to speak.
About this one though is that she's using basically the same sunscreen formulas together. It's just that one is tinted and the other one isn't, which is why I'm like, well, yes, she might be breaking up the formula, but it's the same formula, but it's also different because one is not.
So this is what I was just saying. And like, I think we're probably going to arrive at the same conclusion, right? Like, it's probably not as bad, but it's still not ideal.
Tinted, but it's from the same brand. At least she's mixing sunscreens together. Like, she's not mixing any other types of products in, and sunscreen seems to be like her last step. That's like the only red flag basically in this entire routine. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I think it's actually okay and probably safe to do. And you know what? I mean, y'all, look at her skin. How old is she? Oh my god, 38 years old. You guys, her skin is freaking incredible. My goodness. It's crazy watching Gossip Girl literally right before filming this and then watching this video and being like, you look the same. If the substance exists, Leighton Meester was the first to get in on it because holy shit. Yeah, her skin looks incredible. You can tell that she really took sunscreen seriously from a young age because there doesn't seem to be any skin damage there. And whatever additional treatments she's using, along with just her genetic makeup, it's serving her really well. She looks incredible. This might have been one of the best skincare routines I have ever seen from a celebrity. My God, I have multiple products from this video that I am going to be ordering immediately. Where do I even begin? I mean, all of the products that she uses have ingredient formulations that are good for sensitive skin, very intentional formulations, high quality ingredients, fragrance freaking free. We love it. Every product is intentional. She doesn't use too much. Wait a second. Did she use a moisturizer? Rewind the tapes.
I did get on the SPF train.
Where's the moisturizer?
Her dry
wow,
skin.
It feels good to say that catchphrase again. I haven't said it in a while. Girly Pop, I'm actually very surprised and shocked to see that she doesn't use a moisturizer because all the products that she's using are targeted for people with super dry, dehydrated skins. Like, what? I mean, she's using like good moisturizing products, like 2 serums and an essence, which is great. But at the end of the day, those don't replace moisturizers. Moisturizers have like occlusive agents that basically serve to create a seal across your face to prevent water from escaping your skin, which contributes to dryness. If you just use like hydrating serums, hydrating ingredients, they're great, but your skin can still technically lose water through what's it called?
Transepidermal.
What's it called? Oh, transepidermal water loss. Honestly, Leighton, if you are with me, I would 1000% recommend the Astera Atoll Barrier 365 cream. I recently discovered it. It's from Korea.
Heard a lot
And
of
genuinely one of the best moisturizers I've ever used in my life. I use it almost every single night.
That's another thing about him is that he's always been very interested in like the Korean and Japanese stuff. And like, if you haven't seen my video about why I don't really care about Korean and Japanese skincare anymore, like you can watch that. I don't think it needs to be the Atoderm barrier cream. You could probably get just as much benefit from like the Vanicream moisturizing cream. I would go with the one that comes in the tub, particularly for somebody with drier skin. I don't even have very dry skin and I love that product. And then I have people that I've recommended it to that have dry skin and they're like, oh my God, this is like amazing. So again, if you haven't seen my video about why I don't really care about Korean and Japanese skincare very much, you can watch that.
Night now. Gel, but like deeply nourishing, especially for anyone who has severely dry skin. So I would totally give that to you, but at the very least, she is using sunscreen, which does kind of create a seal across your skin to prevent excess water loss. So it's not a completely hopeless case, but I might have to retract my statement about this being the best skincare routine I've ever seen. But you know what? I gotta say, fantastic skincare routine. I am not shocked whatsoever. I know that you need to separate the art from the artist, but I think just seeing her performance as Blair Waldorf, how thorough and educated and smart she is in that role, I just feel like she has to be a little bit of that in real life, and I knew that she would apply that intelligence to her skincare routine as well. And I absolutely loved seeing this. I also want to say props to her for creating a video like this. I know that she recently lost her home in the fire, so sending her so much positivity and love. This was such a joy to watch as someone who is a Leighton Meester stan, but I would love to know what you guys think of this routine. What do you think of the products that she's tried? Have you tested out any of them? And of course, if you guys want to shop any of the products that she was using, like I will be, I have all the affiliate links for the products listed in the description box below. And of course, let me know which celebrity reaction video you want to see next. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and to the notification bell so that you can see my video.
Okay, so I do think that it's worth talking about the fact that, as is always the case when it comes to a celebrity, yes, she looks amazing, she does. And a lot of the time they do, right? Like, you know, you have these individuals and like they have a really questionable routine and you're like, oh my God, but their skin looks so good. So like, obviously it's working. And it's like, well, but is it? Or is the variety of advanced treatments that they're receiving in clinic working? As the director of a med spa, I can tell you for certain that there are a number of procedures that can undo years of bad skincare, to be honest. That's not to say that those procedures are substitutes for good skincare. I think that they should be used in conjunction with effective home care. They didn't show you exactly how much sunscreen she was actually using, but if she's using her sunscreen effectively, using it consistently, then that in and of itself is going to, you know, save her from a lot of bad choices. I think that it's interesting that he seems to be very, very impressed by this routine when, I mean, and he did specify that, you know, maybe this is like one of the best celebrity routines that he's seen. So, and I know that a lot of those are very, very questionable. So maybe this was one of the better ones. There's no product in this that I'm like, oh my God, like that's awful. Like, why would you ever do that? I think that the products that she was using were totally fine individually. I think some of them were unnecessary. I do think that she would have benefited a lot from a dedicated moisturizer, particularly if she has severely dry skin. This cleansing device, if she's not using it properly, you know, with most cleansing tools, you really just want to contact the skin. You don't really want to apply any pressure. But when you have a tool like that, it can be very easy to compromise the skin barrier, which can, of course, cause a number of issues. So I didn't love her cleansing step, not necessarily because of the product that she was using, but because of the way she went about it. Every single product between her cleanser and her sunscreen step, I think I would have removed. I would replace them all with the vitamin C Super Serum Plus from Naturium. That's what I would do. That product is very hydrating. If applied on damp skin and then sealed in appropriately with a moisturizer, she's probably going to be totally fine. But she will have gotten ascorbic acid, which is one of the most well-studied antioxidants. She would have gotten a little bit of a retinoid in that encapsulated retinol. She would have gotten some niacinamide, which would have helped to support her barrier function, which she apparently struggles with. She would have also gotten salicylic acid at a low concentration, really just there to facilitate some kind of anti-inflammatory effect, which she apparently could benefit from because she has a little bit of what is probably irritated dry skin based on the way that she was talking about it. That to me would have been a much better routine, a much better, much simpler, much more affordable routine. Well, actually, what I would have, I don't know. There's like so many ways you could go with it. It's also a morning routine. Yeah, definitely not one of the best skincare routines that I've ever seen. I'm not reacting as positively as I think that he is. I do like her, but no, I'm not particularly floored by her routine. I think it's just fine. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but very inefficient, I would say. Very inefficient and, you know, kind of redundant, I would say, for the most people. But of course, I mean, if it works for her, it works for her. And I guess that'll always be the caveat with these kinds of videos. So what are your thoughts? Am I being too harsh? Oh my God, am I being too harsh? Am I just a hater? I don't know. If you liked this, if you thought any of what I said was interesting, feel free to like this video. Feel free to give me a follow or subscribe to the channel. I'd like to do more of these like kind of reaction style videos. I think because the more that I spend time in the industry as an esthetician, as, you know, a skincare professional, the more I realize that even within the industry, there is so much variety in terms of philosophy, in terms of sheer belief, frankly. Like, there are a lot of people that just believe things that I don't believe, and vice versa. So it's always interesting to me to hear what individuals that are in the industry, in the space, have to say about a given subject, because, you know, I mean, he had reasons for everything that he said, right? And I didn't really disagree with much of what he was saying. I think I just disagree with the overall, like, assessment. I don't think that was a very efficient and effective routine. I think that it would have been much more effective if she had used, you know, a more antioxidant focused product, found one that had a great, like, mid-weight feel to it. So it was moisturizing without being too much, or hydrating rather without being too much. used a dedicated moisturizer, even if it was a very straightforward one like the Vanicream moisturizing cream, and then gone with her sunscreen. I think it would have been it would have been a more efficient routine. It would have been less expensive. It probably would have done her more good. I don't know. I'm not really impressed. I'm not very impressed at all, but whatever. Anyway, I will see you next time.